So now I'm going to take you through the greatest hits of messaging errors that progressives make. So many. We'll be here for the rest of our lives. So Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson. This is from a study that Lara Borditsky, who used to be at Stanford, I think she's at UCSD now, did with some colleagues. Everybody came into the lab and they watched a video of the infamous wardrobe malfunction, 2004 Super Bowl halftime show. Those of you who remember, Timberlake, they're dancing, he reaches across, he goes like this, suddenly you can see her breast. That's obviously the worst thing that ever happened in the entire universe, because you cannot show women's breasts on television unless you're shooting at them. Those are rough. rough. So everybody watches the video, and half the sample gets an active voice description. Timberlake ripped the bodice. And half the sample gets a passive voice description. The bodice was ripped. And then everyone is asked, what do you think happened? The people, and remember, everybody has watched the video. And in the video, dude goes like this, right? The people who've read an active voice description are much more likely to say, well, he did it. He ripped it. He was careless. You know, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he did it. The people who've read the passive description are much more likely to say perhaps the stitching was poor. Perhaps it was particularly windy in that moment. Perhaps, you know, she intended it to happen for more exposure. Ha, ha, ha. And when they're asked, if you were the FCC, what would you levy in indecency fines, the active voice readers want much higher fines. We know that active voice summations are much more likely to result in conviction in trial. And yet, here is just a tiny sampling of random issues as voiced by progressives. I could spend every minute of every one of my days rewriting progressive websites out of the passive voice and be fully employed for the rest of my life. Now, this isn't always exactly the passive voice that you learned about in English class once upon a time. These are what we technically call inagentive constructions. These are constructions where it is not clear that people did anything. Right. So disparities begin to emerge early in life. The racial wealth gap is growing. Homes were lost. Children experience the least qualified teachers. Temperatures are rising. What is the cause of all these things?
Old white people.
True, but within the construct of these sentences, origin unknown. As a person who routinely loses keys, cell phone, wallets, sometimes all of them, I've never misplaced my house. That's just not a thing I've done. And I would posit that no one has ever actually lost their house or their job. That isn't a thing that people can do. Jamie Dimon took your house. That's what happened. The money didn't disappear in the recession. We know where it went. It's accounted for. When we do not make it clear at the outset that a problem is person-made, it is cognitively inconsistent to believe that it could be person-fixed. If problems appear to be of origin unknown, it makes us sound like crazy people to ask for legislative or executive redress. We are letting people off the hook constantly, and then our solutions don't make any sense.